What's up, football fans? Today we're going to be doing our 1QB Dynasty tier list for wide receivers. This is going to come in handy if you're doing a startup. This is going to come in handy if you're doing a rookie draft. We got the rookies in here. We got the vets in here. It's going to be a good time. Starting with A.D. Mitchell, Adonai Mitchell. I think he's a solid sized receiver. I think it's not too crowded of a wide receiver room over there in Indy. I think he's going to be able to thrive a little bit. So for a rookie receiver, I'm probably going to put him over here. I was thinking B. I'm thinking C. I'm probably going to lean more towards C, but if you're just doing a rookie draft, he's going to be a really great pickup. A.J. Brown, now a little older at wide receiver. I wouldn't draft him too high. He's still going to, he just got paid a massive bag. I'm not putting him in the top 3, but for dynasty purposes, I'm probably going to put him up there at A because he is a absolute demon on the outside. Amari Cooper, speaking of wide receivers who are getting a little bit older, Amari Cooper's an absolute dog. Had a 200-yard game last season? Maybe more. What an absolute dog. He can catch the rock. He scores touchdowns. Yards after catch are ridiculous. Getting a little bit older. I'm probably going to put Amari Cooper down there in B. If you're trying to go and win it this year, I'd go get him. I wouldn't draft him super early in a startup, and I wouldn't trade an absolute bag for him. But if you can get him on the low, I'd go get him on the low. Next, we have Amon-Ra, the Sun God St. Brown, baby. I might be overthinking this one. I'm thinking A or top 3, but let's be real. Let me just skim through here real quick what we got, what I'm working with. This is going to hurt some people's feelings. I'm probably going top 3 with Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think Jared Goff is a really good quarterback. I think he's a bus driver quarterback, but I think that's going to help Amon-Ra a lot. He's going to be his number 1 target. I think he's a good blanket quarterback. And I think the sky's the limit for him. And I think they're definitely going back to playoffs. He's young. He's going to be a good guy to get in startups. He's going to be a good guy. You could trade high for him and it's going to pay off. Next, we have Brandon Cooks. I'm going to put Brandon Cooks down here in D. I like Cooks. Nothing against his game. Really solid wide receiver. He's older. He's wide receiver 2, potentially wide receiver 3 now. Some of those young guys are going to start to get reps on the Cowboys. I just wouldn't. Cooks is definitely he's going to fall in drafts. Might be able to pick him up in free agency. Might be able to pick him up really late in the draft. Next, we have Brandon Ayuk. He's in a really odd situation. 49ers don't want to pay him. He wants to get traded. He's not going to get traded. He's wide receiver 2, absolutely. And I think he's honestly on the 49ers wide receiver 1. I think Debo's kind of on his downward spiral. Brandon Ayuk, I think, would be a good pickup. I'm going to put him in. Oh, Ayuk, how old are you? How old is Brandon Ayuk? Let's see. How old is Brandon Ayuk? He's going to be like 23, 26. He's older. I did not think Brandon Ayuk was older. I thought he was like 23, 24, not 26. I'll probably put Brandon Ayuk in B just because we don't know where he's going to go. 2, he's 26. It's not old, but it's not young. Next, we have Brian Thomas. Just got Brian Thomas in my rookie draft. Fell to the 2nd round, and I feel like getting him in the 2nd round is massive value. Let me put a little. I know this is a 1QB video. He fell to the 2nd round in a super flex, so probably not going to fall to the 2nd round in 1QB. I think he has a lot of potential. I think I'm going to put him in A. I think he is Lawrence Taylor's first number 1 wide receiver he's ever had. I think he has a great build. I think he has great release. I think he has good speed. I think he has solid route running. I think he's really slept on in this wide receiver draft class. Next, we have Calvin Ridley. He's with the Titans now, right? The Titans. I think Will Levis actually has a really good year this year. I think he is going to be a more developed quarterback. I think there are solid wide receivers in that room. Calvin Ridley, a little bit older. Haven't seen a lot out of him last year, suspended the year before. I'm going to put him down here in B just because I think he has a lot of upside potential. Next, CeeDee Lamb. We're not even going to discuss it. He's a top 3 wide receiver. If I was putting these guys in order, I would put CeeDee Lamb first. Last year, I was debating like, and this is not just looking at numbers. This is watching CeeDee Lamb play ball. He's 1A and Justin Jefferson is 1B. I think they're on the same level. I think that at any moment, I wouldn't say either of them is the best wide receiver in the league. I would say they're tied for best wide receiver in the league because CD is absolutely a dog. And I think, I'm going to be real, I think Justin Jefferson had a little more help in that wide receiver room than CD did last year. That's just my opinion. Fantasy for me last year. I'm going to put Chris Godwin probably down here in C. They are moving him to the slot, so that there's a lot of potential there for him playing in the slot. I just wouldn't go and get him super early. Next, we have Chris Olave. I have him in fantasy, my 1QB league, 1QB Dynasty. Derek Carr is the worst thing that has ever happened to the New Orleans Saints. I'm going to put Olave here in B, but he has A upside. Next, we have Christian Kirk. I think Brian Thomas is going to steal a lot of looks from him. Can Christian Kirk stay healthy? I'm going to put him down here in C. Next, we have Christian Watson, young wide receiver, a little bit of an injury bug last year. We know how those hamstring injury goes. They linger all year long. Your wide receiver gets a hamstring injury week 1, and you are just sick to your stomach because you know you're going to be dealing with it all year. Christian Watson, I think, is a solid B-tier receiver with A-side potential. Cooper Kupp getting a little bit of older. He's still got the sauce. He has that terrible, terrible hamstring injury we just talked about. I would put him up here in A. This is his ceiling as of now. I would say a lower A just because his age, maybe fading into B as we speak. You might be able to get him on the low. I don't know where his draft is going in 1QB, but I would not draft him super high. Next, we have Courtland Sutton, rookie quarterback. He's a good blanket guy. I think he could put up good numbers. I'd probably put him down here in C for right now. B potential. Curtis Samuel on the Buffalo Bills. Y'all know how I feel about the Bills. They're in shambles. We're going to put him over here and see. Devontae Adams. I mean, they're really building a really solid roster over there in Vegas. I think they're building a really good mentality. I think they have a really motivational head coach. I think Adams last year was probably B tier, but we're going to keep him in A tier because I think he has all the potential in the world. Next, we have DeAndre D-Hop Hopkins. You can never count him out. I think he was just in a weird situation on the Cardinals. Those last few years, he was in a weird situation last year on the Titans. Rookie quarterback, kind of treating him like they treated Josh Allen. He could run good. Wasn't a great passer at first. I think this offseason is going to do him wonders. I think D-Hop is a solid B-tier wide receiver. Next, we have Deebo Samuel. Like I said, I think we're seeing the fall off of Deebo a little bit. I'm not going to put him in C, but I'm not going to put him in A. I'm putting Deebo in the B tier. And we officially cannot see the B tier anymore because my camera. Let's go ahead and resize that. We're going to do a lot of resizing, aren't we? Yeah, we are. Next, we have Devontae Smith, the Slim Reaper. I think he has really good route running, really good speed. I think he puts on a little bit more weight. He'll be a really great wide receiver. He put on some weight last year, and I feel like it took his wide receiver game to a new level. I'm not going to lie. It's hard to put. I'm going to put him up here in A with A.J. Brown just because either of them in any week can go off. Next, we have Deontay Johnson. I mean, a receiving demon. I think he's really slept on in fantasy. He really didn't get the touchdowns last year. I mostly blame that on his team. I think you give him 3-4 touchdowns, he goes from whatever receiver he was to a potentially top 10, top 15 receiver in fantasy. I mean, he had some really good catches, some really good yards. He just didn't have the touchdown aspect there. I'm going to put him over here in B. I'm not going to lie. We're going to put Deontay Johnson over here in B. Next, we have DJ Moore. He's in a little, heavy offense, a lot of mouths to feed, but I still think he's going to be an amazing target for Caleb Williams. We're putting DJ Moore up here in A. DK Metcalf, my boy. My boy DK. I'm a Seattle fan. Y'all know how we get down. I think DK's solid. I think he has a potential. I'm not going to lie. Am I being biased? No. DK is an absolute dog. Go get him. Dontavian Wicks, another one of these solid Green Bay guys. I mean, Green Bay wide receivers were nothing insane. They were all solid, and they all performed. I'd probably put him down here and C just because who knows if they're going to do that again. I mean, I think they're going to do it again. I think they have nothing. I think that was their floor, what happened last year. But I think there's a lot of potential to improve. I just wouldn't go get Wicks too high. Don't be selling the farm for him. Next, we have Drake London, pairing him with Kirk Cousins in an absolute stacked offense. I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities for him this year. I'm putting Drake London in the A tier. Next, we have Garrett Wilson. Oh, see, I only have top 3, right? And I think Garrett Wilson should be in that top 3. And I knew, here, we're going to move my camera down a little bit till they start shifting these. It will enlarge it. I think Garrett Wilson has top 3 potential, right? But can Aaron Rodgers stay healthy? I'm going to put Garrett Wilson over here in A. I would love to put him in top 3, but we still have a wide receiver left named Justin Jefferson. So next we have George Pickens. I mean, where do I start with George Pickens? I think he has potential. I think he hasn't unlocked that potential yet. I don't know if he's going to do it with Russell Wilson. I don't know if he's going to do it with Justin Fields. I'm putting George Pickens down here and see till we can see him prove something. John Dodson, I'm going to put you down there in D. I mean, you're in a pretty rookie quarterback. I mean, stacked wide receiver room. I mean, I just wouldn't go, give it all for John Dotson, Jamar Chase, another one of those guys I'm sick I really can't put in the top 3, but I'm going to put you up here in A. I think he's a really solid wide receiver. He's really Joe Burrow dependent. Hey, Jake Browning. Shout out Jake Browning. He's a dog, an absolute dog. Jameson Williams, I'm going to put him down here and see. We really haven't seen anything crazy from him this year. Amon-Ra St. Brown is definitely stealing the show. They have good receiving backs. I just don't think there's a lot of room for him to excel any of these guys at B or any of these guys at A. JSN. I think JSN is absolutely going to take this. I'm about to have to move my camera again. Great. Well, do that right there. I think JSN has a lot of potential to take that locker room over. I'm not going to put him in A yet. I think JSN is going to be a solid B with A potential. Next, we have Jaden Reed. Another one of those solid wide receiver guys. I'm telling y'all, I really am confused where to put them because I feel like B is a good spot. I feel like C is a good spot. I feel like they all have maybe A potential. One of them just has to break out and be solid. I'm going to put Jaden Reed in C as well. Next, we have Jalen Waddle. So I had this discussion with Tyler yesterday. I think Jalen Waddle is in a really heavy offense, like really stacked, hungry wide receiver room, running backs, a lot of mouths to feed. Can he stay healthy? Can his quarterback stay healthy? There's a lot of liabilities on that team for his fantasy purposes. I'm probably going to go Waddle in B. And I really don't think he's going to move into A. I think he could move down into C. For fantasy purposes, I think he's a good wide receiver. Just fantasy is really, really scary. Jordan Addison, I mean, this is going to be crazy, but I'm going to put him in B. I think he thrives a lot off of Justin Jefferson. Speaking of Justin Jefferson, I'm going to go ahead and throw him up there in the top 3. I think Jordan Addison has a potential. It's crazy that the Vikings have a top 3 and an A potential in fantasy. If you don't get Justin Jefferson, I would feel just as okay getting Jordan Addison. I'm just not putting him in A yet because I want to see another year with him. I wouldn't get him too high. The only reason I'm not putting him at C, I mean, if you're thinking age for Dynasty, probably a C. If you're thinking win now in Dynasty, I would absolutely go trade for Keenan Allen. We're going to put him at B with, I don't see him going to A. Just because his age, I see him falling to C if he has a fall off. I think he's a good blanket receiver for a guy like Caleb Williams. Next, we have Keon Coleman, the Bills' potential number one wide receiver. I think it's gonna be a little rough roller coaster at first for him and Josh Allen, but I can see we're gonna put him down here and C. He has a lot of route running issues he needs to correct, but I think he has B potential. Next, we have Ladd McConkey. I mean, someone's going to come out wide receiver one on the Chargers. It could be Ladd. Maybe Johnson has a resurgence year. They got, who else did they get? I think they drafted another wide receiver. I just can't remember. I think Ladd is a solid, C tier guy. B-side potential. Malik Neighbors on the Giants. A absolute dog. I'm going to put him down here and C because he has Danny Dimes throwing him the rock. I'm sorry, Malik Neighbors. Marquise Brown. Hollywood Brown scares me. And the only reason he's going to go in C is because Patrick Mahomes. It's not because I like any of his abilities at all. I really want to put him in D. Oh, God, I really want to put him down there in D. But he has Patrick Mahomes at quarterback. So next we have Marvin Harrison Jr. Everyone is riding that. What's his name? Oh my gosh. Not Christian Kirk. Oh my God. Kyler Murray. Everyone's riding that Kyler Murray hype train saying this is his comeback year. I'm going to put Marvin Harrison Jr. in B with huge A upside. But you know what? We're going to go ahead and put him in A because he's that wide receiver one over there. And I think he's going to absolutely eat. Next, we have Michael Pittman Jr. I'm going to throw you over here in B, brother. He's really hit or miss in fantasy to me. Next, we have Mike Evans. I'm going to put Mike Evans in B. Solid fantasy receiver. He's getting a little older. Always has that A upside potential. 1,000 yards, almost every year he's been in the league. He's an absolute dog. Mike Williams. I'm gonna put Mike down here. I wanted to put him in D because he sold me last year. I'm going to put him down here in C. Man, I'm putting Mike down here in D. Mike really sold me last year. I mean, coming off an injury, he's a really good red zone target. He's just so streaky. It's sickening. Nico Collins got to go up there in A. I mean, I think the Texans are doing ridiculous things over there. Heavy wide receiver room, heavy running back room, a lot of mouths to feed. Still think he has A-side potential. Puka Nacua. I'm not putting Puka in B because Puka deserves to be in A. That man absolutely showed up and showed out last year. Rashee Rice, we're going to put you down here in D because you might be going to prison. So, Rome Odunze. What team did Rome go to? Am I losing my mind? The Bears. I think there's a lot of mouths to feed over there in the Bears. I think he has a lot of potential. I'm going to put him down here in C until we can see what he can prove. Next, we have Stephon Diggs. We'll just throw him over here in B. I'm not a big Diggs supporter. I think he's a drama queen. I think he's a crybaby sometimes. I think he's in a really, like I said about Nico Collins, a heavy mouth to feed offense. Tank Dell. We're going to put you down here in D because I'm the biggest hater. Nah, for real though. Tank Dell. If he stayed healthy, he would have probably had 1,000 yards last year. I'm going to put him in C. Now, look, I think Tank Dell absolutely has B upside. I'm putting him in C because he's wide receiver 3 in an offense with 2 wide receivers that are wide receiver 1s. You have a top 10 tight end. You have a red zone hungry running back, and you have a rushing quarterback. Tank Dell, I think, can make he has really good opportunities to get open in the middle of the field with this offense. I think a lot of touches are going to get stolen by some of these guys. Next, we have T. Higgins. I've never been big on T. Higgins. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to put him down here in C. Terry McLaurin, I think he has a lot of upside. We'll throw him up there at B. Tyler Lockett, getting a little older. I'll put him down here at C. I feel like he's a big boomer bust guy in fantasy. Tyreek Hill, obviously, we're throwing you up there at A. Xavier Worthy, this is a really interesting one. What are the Chiefs going to do with Worthy? I think everyone's putting him up there on a pedestal with Tyreek Hill. Some of y'all are forgetting Tyreek Hill doesn't just run straight. He runs great routes. So we'll have to see how Xavier Worthy's route tree is. I'm probably throwing him down here and see. Last but not least, Zay Flowers. I think he's going to be solid for the Ravens. I'm going to throw him up here at B wherever he just went. There we go. I'm going to throw him up here at B. I think he has solid potential. I think he has A upside. So I think there's a lot of potential there. So that will do it for our wide receiver 1 QB Dynasty tier list. Let me know if I have someone too high. Let me know if I have someone too low. Down in the comments. Don't forget, like and follow.